broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing after-shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to AFTERBUZZ TV for the original Season 2, Episode 13, The Devil is Damned. I'm your host, Roxy Striar. You can find me everywhere at Roxy Striar, alongside the beautiful, wonderful, talented Katie Campbell.
Hello. You can find me on Twitter at Katie Campbell. That's Katie with 3 E's, Campbell.
And our exceptional chat mistress, Tiona Hobson.
Hello, everyone. I am on the chat roll right now, so make sure you're in there talking to me. There's a lot of hi Tionas. Hi, everyone.
So if you're watching this later and you don't know what she's talking about, it's because everybody who is joining us live is on youtube.com/AfterBuzzTV, talking to our chat mistress and letting us know what they think. It's going to be a really special episode tonight because we have Nathan Parsons, who of course plays Jackson, joining us later. So start sending in your questions now. If you're on Twitter, you can use the hashtag ABTVOriginals. If you're on YouTube, definitely join the chat. And if you are watching this later, make sure you check us out on iTunes and on SoundCloud. Always rate, comment, subscribe. We love hearing what you guys have to say. Okay, let's get into tonight's episode, which I thought was the best episode of the season. I think it's absolutely amazing what they did. I had chills. I was like kind of tearing up at points. What did you guys think?
I loved it. I told you when I got here, I was like,
well, you watched twice.
Yeah, I did.
Because you a crazy fan.
I am. I think this show is so good. It might be my favorite one on television right now, and this episode was amazing.
Big statement.
I know.
Big statement.
But it's true.
I agree with that. T, what did you think about that episode?
I loved this episode. Babies creep me out, so the ending was a little...
It was
super creepy for me. I watched it last night right before bed, and I almost, couldn't fall asleep at night.
Yeah, babies and dolls, it's like a Chucky kind of moment. At the end, I'm like, oh, I know that we're supposed to think that this is great because you're all powerful, but I'm really thinking, ooh, you creepy, creepy kid.
Oh my gosh, I knew this was going to happen.
You want a kid like that. You're praying that your baby does that.
Yeah, no. But I knew this was going to happen from the moment that baby rolled and pulled the
because
down.
No baby that young is strong enough to pull down the whole whatever was over the table.
We've been talking about it for a while, and we're gonna have to save our thoughts on the baby because we're not there yet. That's the very end. We got to start with something that was equally creepy in my opinion. So we got this Freya situation. Now I know that people on social media are going crazy over Freya because some people are thinking that Freya is Freya, and other people are thinking that Freya is Dahlia. What do you guys think? Is Freya actually somebody else, even if it is Dahlia or somebody that we haven't thought of? Or is she Freya?
I think she's Freya, but I can understand, if the show decided to do a twist with it, and all of a sudden it's Dahlia. But Freya did say to Finn in the very beginning, she used nicknames, I guess, what they were whispering about when they were young. So either Dahlia knows all that, and she's,
messing with him.
Yeah, but I really do, in my heart, think it is Freya.
She also has that speech about how Dahlia is her demise and out to get her, and Dahlia wants her. I mean, she'd have to be the character would have to be a good actress to be pulling this off,
Yeah.
But you said, Katie, that you really like this character.
I do.
So why?
I don't know. I mean, I really enjoy Finn, too. I like the evil of them. I think it makes for a great show, and I'm really excited to see more about Freya and what her intentions are. And that whole caterpillar thing, I thought she was going to kill it. I got so nervous.
But she made it beautiful.
Yeah. She did, but she's just so powerful.
T, what are you thinking about Freya?
Freya, I still haven't come to a decision on her yet because I don't know if I trust her yet or not, but I don't know what to say because we still don't know anything about her. Do I believe her story about, being asleep for 100 years at a time and alive for 1 year? Sure. But what does that really mean? I don't know what her true motives are.
You don't trust anybody, T.
I don't
Let's be honest, you have trust issues.
I'm like, Klaus, give me a reason to trust you. prove to me that you're worthy of my trust.
Do we think that Finn is past the point of trusting, though? So now he seems to be working with Freya. Cole thinks he's the odd man out, but I feel like it's been Finn this whole time, and Finn kind of is never going to redeem himself. What do you guys think? Is he past the point?
In my eyes, yes, but in this episode is when I kind of became like Katie, like, oh my gosh, Finn is, it's almost beautiful what he does in his crazy, sinister way. And that's when I was like, ooh, I'm not ready to ever be done with him yet. I don't think he'll ever be on Team Michelson, but I'm not ready to get rid of him yet because I think him as a villain is so pretty right now.
Mm-hmm. You know whose opinion I really want to get on these originals, because they've had a close-up look on the family, but they're outside enough that I feel like he'd give us an honest opinion. Of course, is our guest Nathan Parsons, and I hear he is in studio, so whenever he can come on in, we would love to talk to him, because I really want to know what Wolfie is thinking of these vampires.
And especially with Klaus every other second kind of, threatening his life and all that jazz.
It's ridiculous. I mean, we've got all of these vampires in there, and it's really hard to say who's good and who is not, so we need some outside perspective. Coming in right now, everybody, warm welcome to Nathan Parsons. Yay!
Oh my God,
We're really happy to have you join us. You had a really big episode tonight.
I did, yeah.
Got to play with some kids.
Got wrestled down by some kids. Those guys were rough.
Yeah, they were. I think you can handle it, though. You seem like you're tough enough.
I try.
So we're talking right now about the siblings, and we got to get your opinion on who actually is good and who we can trust. So we got Freya in the picture now, and we're not knowing whether it's actually Freya, whether we feel like we can trust her. I mean, what can you tell us? How are you feeling?
She's a Michelson, so you can't trust her. You can't trust any of those guys.
You don't trust any of them?
No, not a single one. They're all bad. They're all crazy. They all tried to kill me at least once.
That's fair enough. I don't know. I feel like I'm easygoing because I trust a lot of them. I'm feeling like some of them really have won me over.
You trust Cole.
I really trust Cole. Let's talk about Cole tonight. Okay, how can you not trust Cole after tonight?
Well,
after tonight, sure. He's on his way back on the path of redemption.
He's in our good graces, no?
In our good graces, but you were liking him like at the beginning of the season when he was still Psycho Cole.
I see the best in people. I see the best in people like Davina, who we didn't see tonight.
Yeah, I think you over-trust people. I have trust issues with people, and you overly trust people.
All right, but here he proves himself. So he's sitting here, and he is deciding, should I go with Team Finn, who we know Team Finn sucks.
I wouldn't trust Finn.
Bad news. Yeah. We can't be on Team Finn. No. So what does he do? Instead of saving himself because he thinks that maybe Finn could keep him alive, he goes with Team Klaus. Makes a right decision for the first time in 1,000 years. You got to trust him now. I mean, why are you guys doubting him so much? What has he done that makes us think that Klaus is a better person than Cole?
I've known Klaus longer.
Because you've known Klaus for so long, you should trust him even less.
But he's still like my road dog. I see his flaws and I accept him for the person he is, and I'm moving on from it.
So what is Cole gonna have to do then to make you get to that point?
I just think he's been Team Cole for so long that he did make some steps forward, and I was really proud of him. I said that to you when we were watching it.
Out loud. I'm so proud. I like soccer mom.
I was very proud of him, but I just think he's still going to have this battle inside where he's on his own team, yet he's trying to be in their good graces.
I see what you're saying, but I just feel like if this didn't prove it, tonight he's given the White Oak stake, which is huge. He has all of this dark magic. We see that he's able to get into their minds and literally twist and turn them around and make them bleed and bang their heads. If he wanted to, he could have caused a lot of damage, but he didn't. And I feel like this is the start of him becoming one of the core originals. Did you guys feel bad for him at any moment, though? He's talking about how he feels left out and how he feels like he's the one always... Okay, what's the hand?
No, okay. I think that Klaus made some really good points, that they've all been through so much and he needs to stop this. Woe is me. Woe is me. I'm on the outside. No, I don't want to hear it. I love what Klaus was saying. That was a really good scene between the two of them.
Yeah, but again, it goes back to trusting Klaus. Klaus is saying, you're my brother. I would never kill you.
Meanwhile, he's going off and going to try to kill Finn, so we know that's not true.
Right.
He's very willing to kill his family.
That's how I feel. So even though though I love Klaus, I've been a Klaus supporter for a long time, I'm starting to trust him less. He says things that I'm like,
I did like how Cole called him out on his BS, though. He was like, you always preach about family, yet you torture us and do all these horrible things to us all the time. And I thought I liked that Cole stood up for himself, because honestly, at this point, he's been hexed. He's gonna die anyway. I kind of feel like Cole was just like, you know what? Whatever, I'm gonna speak my mind because I'm gonna die regardless.
right.
Do you think it's true that he can't get out of that whole hex situation? He said he's like gonna die anyway. There's no fixing it.
I don't know. I mean, we'll have to see. We've talked about last year that you can't get out of a hex, but we also haven't dealt with people like Finn and Freya, and they might be able to have a way to do it. We just haven't been able to see that yet.
I feel like there's loopholes for pretty much everything. When you're working in this world, if we want to keep him around, I think we'll find a way to keep him around. And from what I'm seeing, I think people want to keep him around.
Yeah, but I'm just so worried that we're gonna have another one of the Oliver situations where he redeems himself and then he dies.
That does seem to be a trend on this show, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You're bringing up his best friend Oliver. He's gonna die now.
I know. Still a sore topic.
I'm sorry.
I get that. I do. We miss Oliver a lot on the show. But this is what I love. I never feel like anybody's truly gone. I feel like there's always chance for us to get him back. So even if Cole does leave this body, or even if Cole doesn't leave, I feel like in a month, in a year, whatever it is, either through flashbacks or through some sort of witchy magic, we'll be able to get him back. I feel like he's around for good. It's Finn that I'm more worried about leaving. Because people want him gone because he's a villain. We're having a Twitter war with him right now.
just a small one.
Tiana started a war because she loves him so much, the character.
Oh, that's funny.
And I don't know. I'm feeling like he's a bad dude. It's just tough. It's tough with our wars here.
It is tough because, the actors who play everyone are always so nice and sweet, but,
Yeah, and
your characters.
Yusuf is incredibly good at being really bad.
Really good.
I love him. I don't want him to go.
It's beautiful what he does.
I've said I don't hate him. I love to hate him. There's a complete difference. But you get to play somebody who is good, and you seem like a pretty good person too. So I'm thinking that you lucked out. You don't have to play somebody that people hate.
Yeah, no, it has been good. Although I have to say, as Jackson's gotten closer to Haley, a lot of the Elijah and Haley people are coming out of the woodwork going like, no, get out of the way, dude. Get out of the way.
Yeah, I want to talk about you and Elijah for a second.
Okay.
So, do you feel like there's animosity there? Because right now, he's taking care of Hope, and he's really helping out, and I feel like he's stepped back, and maybe he had a little bit of flirtation with your girl, but I feel like he's stepped down and stopped fighting you.
Yeah, he has a little bit. But going back to season 1, Jackson and Elijah were able to kind of come to terms with each other, and not necessarily in a friendly way, but in a respectful way.
Right.
They were the two that were trying to get an alliance working. They kind of took over that job, and now of course he's kind of stepped in it with Haley, and so that puts him back on the wrong side of the ledger, but there's still that mutual respect there, I think, between the two of them.
People have been asking a lot about your love for Haley and where it stems from. So we know that you guys have been destined to be together for a really long time, but do you feel like that's the only thing contributing to you wanting, or your character wanting to end up with her?
No, I don't think so. Even when he was cursed and had to be an actual wolf for so long, he was always around Haley, and I think there was sort of a shared bond between them that was unspoken at the time. So I think Haley is able to let her guard down more with Jackson because he's always around, and he sees more of who she is than I think anyone else on this show.
Team Jaylee.
Yeah.
Are you Team Jaylee?
Of course I'm Team Jaylee.
You are?
Of course.
So you don't want to see her end up with anybody else at any point. You want you guys to ride it out to the end.
Exactly. I do. I think they're good for each other.
I think they're pretty good for each other too, but I gotta say there's a lot of love for different people with Haley. Yeah. Haley gets shipped a lot.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Yeah.
She's been around the block with the ships.
Yeah. But so I don't blame any of the characters for loving her. She's beautiful, she's strong. I think that people really like her character. What about the fact that Rebecca's come back now? Because we did grow a little bit of a friendship between Rebecca and Haley. And Rebecca just finds out that Haley's getting married. She seems a little bummed that she didn't know, but I mean, she was stuck in a madhouse, so obviously.
Not really her fault.
Yeah, not quite her fault. Are we going to see Rebecca come into your guys' lives at all? Or?
Definitely. And she's one of the only ones, the originals, that I haven't really had to work with yet. I haven't gotten good scenes between Jackson and Rebecca because she kind of left right as I showed up. So I would love to see that relationship between Haley and Rebecca kind of reform and develop something, between Jackson and Rebecca. I mean, they have to have a respect for each other. She's the only one that hasn't tried to kill him.
Why can't she be the maid of honor?
Maybe she will be.
Could be.
Ooh, prediction.
I like that.
Yeah, you're saying you trust none of the originals, but Rebecca, she really hasn't. She's not tried to kill you. That's worth something.
Exactly. She's the only one that hasn't tried yet. So, I'll give her the benefit of the doubt until she does.
She's too busy trying to get her brothers to keep her in, her own body and leave her alone and just let her live her own life.
Yeah, she's got a lot going on.
Yeah.
Girl's got a lot going on. We'll definitely give her the benefit of the doubt. All right, let's talk a little bit about what's going on with Cammie and Elijah living in this house and taking care of what I now am referring to as Psycho Baby. Even though I don't know if that's
name.
fair.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe not psycho.
No.
Special skilled?
Yeah.
Special skilled baby. That doesn't quite have the same ring.
No.
I mean, I guess we could just call it Hope.
Yeah, that is her
Seems
name.
like that's fair.
That is her name.
So everybody is working to protect Hope, except for the people who are out to get Hope. And Hope is sitting there throughout the entire episode. And I want to get from you, Katie, because I don't understand how you knew that Hope was behind all of this and was protecting herself. Like, what were the hints that you got, other than at the end, that Hope was this all-powerful thing?
Well, there was an article, I think I mentioned it last week, about Julie talking about we're going to actually see Hope and her, how she's so strong, and she's all three. She's a wolf, she's a witch, and she's a vampire. And so we're going to see more of that in the coming episodes. And I just knew it. Like, the moment she fell, or that she brought that tablecloth down and it hit her head, I thought it was going to actually heal right in that moment. It didn't. It healed shortly after, but the signs were there. I don't know. I just knew it.
You just knew. You got the feeling. What do we think Hope is? What are we thinking?
That's the question. Nobody knows. Nobody knows.
Didn't we read something a while ago that said if she is something, then she could be a monster, or she has to be taken care of, or she could turn into a monster?
The same article that if she's not raised right, she will be something very bad.
Yeah, I could see that.
And just being so young and not knowing your powers, clearly she's already powerful, and we don't know if she has control over it, really, or if she was just kind of looking out for people and doing things, or...
Yeah. How does Jackson feel about Hope? Because obviously it's not his child, but he loves Haley. And
he loves kids.
Yeah.
Loves kids.
So what is he thinking about her? Does he...
Well, he's gonna love Hope too. I mean, Hope is a part of Haley. They come as a package deal. So you love one, you love the other.
But it's the only thing that ties her to the Michelson family.
Yeah, and I think Jackson's gonna try and get Haley kind of away from them a little bit. Now she's been hanging out in the bayou more. She's more.
It sounds like a club. She's kicking it in the bayou.
It's an exclusive club. It is. No, but she's becoming more and more involved with the werewolf side of it, and she kind of takes their side when she's dealing with Elijah and with Klaus. She takes their side more than anything else.
Yeah.
So I think there's the potential to have Jackson kind of let's get out of the Michelson from under their shadow. Because they are bad news all around.
You made a face when he said that it was attaching them.
I just have this underlying feeling about Jackson. I think it's so cute, Jackson and Haley. I'm really enjoying it. I'm a Elijah fan at heart. I really am.
That's why she's sitting over there.
I really am. But I'm also really enjoying the Jackson and Haley thing, and I think Jackson's so sweet with her. But I just feel like, is there something else that you have planned? Are you creating this army for yourself?
No, I don't think I'm creating it for myself. I mean, I think Jackson has fought his entire life to basically keep these people alive. And now he's potentially going to get all these great powers from this ritual if it works. That kind of power could go to somebody's head. I'm not saying it will, but the potential is there. And we haven't really seen a dark side from him yet. Every character has one except for him.
Yeah.
So maybe it'll come out in a flashback. Maybe he'll change. I don't know.
Well, the reason I'm thinking that he might is because at what point do you get annoyed that these vampires keep attacking your people?
Oh, I've been annoyed since I showed up on this show. It's getting old. Yeah.
They won't stop.
Yeah, no, they won't.
And you just kind of smile about it, and you're like, all right, we'll deal with it.
Yeah, and now we can actually stand up and be like, oh, you want to come hunt us down? We're right here.
Yeah.
Come and get us.
Would you want to see your character go down a darker path?
I think, yeah. I mean, maybe not as far as some of the other characters have gone, but I think we have to see a hint of it. We have to see something. What is he willing to do to protect his people? I don't know. I don't know what he's willing to do.
It's interesting. Yeah. I think about when you just said we haven't seen a darker side to him, but we have to everyone else. That's kind of true. I can't think of another person on the show. I mean, even obviously Oliver when he was on the show and trying to. So even all the wolves, everybody. Haley trying to protect. There's a lot. And then we did see a little bit of a darker side to his family, though.
Yeah.
So we find out the big deal last week was that your grandfather actually killed Haley's parents.
Yeah.
And how long did you know that was going to be a secret?
I actually didn't find out until a few weeks before it was written, and then they were like, so here's the deal, don't tell anyone, but your grandparents did some bad stuff.
Is that a big realization moment for you?
It was, and it was fun to sort of explore more of that, that history, because we haven't really touched on much of it. It's all kind of been shrouded in mystery, and it's finally starting to come to light, so that it's nice, and I really appreciate the way they ended up writing that.
And it seemed like it was something that Haley heard and she accepted and moved on. Is it something that we'll see come up again in your relationship?
Very possibly. I mean, that's not something you just casually drop at the dinner table. Like, hey, by the way, sorry about your parents. Like, my grandparents killed them. You can't really. That's like a
Let's
big.
Let's go hang out in the bio.
Exactly. That's a pretty big hurdle to jump at the dinner table. So, I'm sure it'll come back in some form.
Especially because now we're seeing more of your grandma, who I love. We're obsessed with.
Love her. Yeah, Deborah's fantastic. Yeah.
The character is adorable, and also she's tough. So I love to see both sides, and she seems to be running things right now, kind of.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, she, when Jackson was gone for so long, he was learning a whole lot about his history and about sort of the roots of where he comes from, and that's when he learned the secret about his grandparents. And I mean, I wouldn't say she's running things at this point, but she's definitely, the wing woman, the right-hand person involved in this, because she knows more about being a werewolf than anyone else on the show.
Why is it so important to her that the two of you get married then?
Well, I think it's the same reason it's important to Jackson. It's the same reason it's important to Haley. It's the only thing at this point that can keep this pack safe and keep them alive.
I was really interested in tonight's episode that all these other alphas are willing to step down. Yeah. I wasn't expecting to see that, at least not yet. I mean, how can they trust you? They don't even really seem to know you.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's sort of a thing done in crisis. You have to turn to the person who offers the best chance to survive. And at this moment, it's Jackson. Right. Whether he's ready for it or not, he's the guy. He's it for these other alphas. So I think stepping down and lending, giving up their right as alpha is really the only play they have. That's the only card left.
I'm trying to figure out, does everybody at this point know about Hope then? Do all these alphas know that Hope exists? Or who's in on this loop? Because now that we have Finn in, that means that it's opened a lot of doors. Obviously Freya now knows. So Dolly is out to get. I'm just wondering how far this net has been cast.
Yeah, I mean, the net just keeps getting bigger and bigger. I'm joking with one of the writers the other day about how 2 weeks ago, this was the world's hugest secret, the way to kill everybody. Now, like, half the town knows. Right. Really bad job of keeping that secret.
Yeah.
And it's going to become more and more public knowledge, I think, because Jackson is going to find out, and Finn knows and all this stuff. So that net's going to keep getting wider and wider.
I'm not worried about it, though, because of what we saw tonight with Hope and how strong she is.
Well, yeah, she is strong, but we don't, like Tiona talking about, we don't know if she can control these strengths. So is she always going to be able to use this power? I don't know. What even is this power?
She had to be smart enough to stop Cammy from getting any closer to the house at the exact moment. The car? Yeah.
So what she was able to, the tablecloth, the healing of the head, and the stopping of the car.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And starting it back up, like, right after the explosion.
Right.
Yeah.
So even if she does get hurt, it seems like she can blink and heal herself.
Yeah, she seems pretty good on her own. We're fighting so hard to defend her. I don't know if she really needs it. She seems pretty good.
She's probably the one who should be defending it.
Exactly.
But then, the one thing that comes to question is, will those powers always go towards you guys, like in a good, positive way, or could they kind of skirt to the other way?
Definitely could. Maybe that's part of the reason why everyone's fighting so hard to be like, no, I'm here for you. No, I'm here for you. I'm the one who wants to defend you. No, I'm better at it. We're all trying to get her on our side because we need it.
When you say go to the other way, Tiona, do you mean like she could possibly be pairing up with Dahlia or something like that, or what way?
No, I just mean because she's still a baby, we don't know if she's actually in control of everything yet. So tonight we saw her kind of save Cammy in that way because her spidey senses were tingling. But what if it had gone a different way and she let Cammy go in there, or she tried to save Cammy but instead like blew up her car or something like that?
I don't think she was trying to save Cammy. I think she was trying to save herself.
Yeah, that too.
I mean, maybe either Cammy was a benefit to that, or she was like, bummer, I gotta save Cammy, but I gotta save me too.
You don't like Cammy.
No. I'm just saying we don't know what team she's really on. Like, we haven't seen her do anything to actively help anybody yet, other than herself. So it does make me nervous, especially the fact that we don't even know what's going on with Dahlia, who Dahlia, where Dahlia, what Dahlia. So I feel like if Dahlia, like we were talking about, if she's raised in the wrong hands, she could go terribly wrong. If Dahlia does get a hold of her, she could turn out really bad. We don't even know if Freya's good or bad yet, so...
Something with that necklace, that's going to be important, because she keeps holding that necklace, and we keep seeing shots of it, too.
What's the deal with the necklace?
I don't know.
It's freaking me out. Well, because last week we see with the necklace, she can't do something because the necklace is off her, and then she can because the necklace is on. It's making me wonder, that's why I think everybody's questioning, is Freya? Because I feel like maybe this necklace, she's Freya when she doesn't have it, but when she does have it, like Dahlia's living in the necklace or something.
That would be crazy.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Did I tell you I write for the show? No. Okay, so let's get back to what we have going on with the wolves. So you guys are trying to join together. All the alphas are here. We've got then the vampires that come and attack because they're so hungry. What can we do to stop making these vampires so freaking hungry? Like, I feel like feeding them
he's
steak.
got to get rid of Finn. He's the root of all of this stuff. I mean, once if we can stop him, everything's going to be fine.
So we kind of do a little bit tonight. We do see that Finn is losing his powers.
I just want to say, speaking of the vampires attacking, like, Gia just folds under pressure every time.
Gia can't hold her own.
I'll cut out for this.
No, she really isn't, which is crazy because the reason she turned into a vampire is she was the one that remembered where she came from. Yeah. So I felt like she was going to be this super vamp, but oh my gosh, she can't. Her character just couldn't pull it together last week. She was so annoying. She just like was ready to pounce, and then tonight Marcel's like, calm down. She's like, I can't. And she gets all the vampy veins.
And when she was still passed out, Marcel, is talking to her like, don't worry, I got you. Like, we're gonna get through this together. Are we starting to see a Marcel Gia thing? Did I say it right that time?
No, Gia.
I always think of Gia like a chia pet, but
that's what I say. Gia.
Okay, Gia.
All right,
got it.
It's a great question, T. Am I feeling the romantic vibes here? A little bit, but I'm not a good judge because you guys know I could ship anything. It's really bad. It's really bad. So I don't know. What are you thinking, Katie?
I could see, I guess, it going in that direction, but I don't know if I really feel that way now. I don't know why Marcel is so attached to her.
I don't either, because Josh has been around longer. He's a part of Marcel's army, and I just feel like Marcel never really took Josh under his wing that way of like, this is my ride or die, no matter what, we're gonna do what we gotta do together, like he has with Gia.
Do you think...
There you go.
Congrats. Do you think that maybe it's because Marcel and Davina have split up a little bit recently? They used to be so close, and maybe he's looking for that void to be filled?
That's a good point.
Maybe she's got dark hair like Davina.
He just needs a brunette around.
Yeah, he just needs a brunette.
I think that's definitely it. It's the brunette thing.
Sometimes it really is the material things that matter, guys.
Yeah, but it is interesting, like just as Davina's fading out, he's trying to phase somebody in a little bit. I just wonder if she isn't this ride or die, and she doesn't seem to have his back as much as he has hers. Is this a good choice for him? Is she going to end up messing with him because she's not as strong? Or do we think she'll be able to grow and he'll be able to teach her?
I mean, hopefully he'll be able to teach her, you know. He hasn't really, like you said about Josh, he never really took Josh under his wing. And it'd be nice to kind of see Marcel then do to someone else what Klaus has kind of done with him. You know, Klaus sort of raised Marcel and taught him how to be a vampire. Maybe it's time for Marcel to then pay that forward and try again.
How is Jackson feeling about Marcel? Obviously, he's not part of the Michelson family, but he's on the outskirts of it, and he does seem to try to help you when he can.
Yeah, I think he earned major points by sticking around and trying to keep some guys alive for Jackson. I mean, he earned major points there. You know, Marcel's they've always kind of been on opposite ends here, and they've only had a couple interactions before, generally not good, but more recently, you know, they're kind of getting on the same page, so hopefully we'll see more of that going forward.
Yeah. Was anybody else surprised tonight when Marcel turns to Haley and says, you should stick around and you know, Elijah's going to deal with this, don't go there, it's a few hours away, and she does stay? Because I feel like we've seen Haley every time just book it to Hope.
Yeah.
I wasn't surprised because she trusts Elijah.
Okay, Elijah. All right, Elijah. So you think that if it had been somebody else, she would have gone?
Oh, depending on who it was, maybe.
What do you guys think? Were you surprised?
I was a little surprised. I was surprised that everyone had so much faith in Elijah in this moment because of what he's going through, and that to me just made it very aware that everyone's not fully aware of exactly how messed up Elijah is right now.
That's
Right.
true.
Only Cammy is. So everyone's just like, oh, Elijah's got it, Elijah's got it. Elijah was getting his butt kicked.
Yeah.
Like he didn't have it. But
that was a rough morning for him.
But then he won in the end. He
I mean-
outsmarted him, and he controlled that whole situation. I thought he was going down the red door, and he was going to lose it, but then he controlled it in the end.
He did, but I felt like it was 50-50 that he was going to be able to do that. I mean, I was not feeling confident in him at all. That blood that they use all over his hands that, like, stick... Oh, that was a really gross scene. So what he exactly does is he's got this blood, and every time he gets dirty... He's having these flashbacks. We talk about it every week. But this week he was finally able to overcome. Is it because Hope was on the line, or what made him push through it this time? And what was the reason?
I want to know what Katie has to say about this.
I mean,
Put her on the spot.
maybe Cammy's been helping him in a little way.
Are you seeing... No.
You can't even say it.
But a lot of people are because they're stuck in a house together, so that is kind of what everyone's mindset is going, you know, out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
They're the ones shacking up with the baby right now.
Does that mean you're seeing it? Yeah, they're kind of playing house.
They are kind of. No, I kind of see her more as his therapist, his live-in therapist.
Yeah.
But it would be nice for them to have someone, since Haley clearly has Jackson now.
That's right.
Did you hear that?
Yeah. And Marcel probably with Rebecca back. I want to see Marcel with Rebecca again, so I don't even want him with Cammy, and Klaus shouldn't be in any relationship with any woman.
Agreed. I definitely strongly agree.
What exactly is going to happen now, though? So we see the house explodes. I mean, is Elijah just going to be horribly scarred? And what's going to happen? Did Finn jump bodies? And now is he 300 miles away and he's just going to keep coming back? What do we think is actually going on with both of them?
Elijah's going to be healed because we see him in the previews for next week.
Fair. Great point.
Spoiler.
And because you wouldn't be able to deal with that.
I wouldn't.
Beautiful Elijah.
But with Finn, I think he's still around. He might just be in another body.
But I thought that he was slowly losing his powers, or like that spell was just supposed to knock him back down to his normal witchy level, so he doesn't necessarily have to jump bodies yet.
But would a witch die in the fire? We know that an original
Oh yeah, I forgot
doesn't.
the house blew up.
Maybe, but he was also channeling two really, really powerful vampires.
Yeah.
So
Right.
maybe that helped. I don't know.
When if he does pass out or whatever happens, is the channeling of his parents going to stop, and maybe the parents are able to wake up? What do we think is going to happen with Esther and Michael? I mean, I'm scared crapless of them. We've completely forgot about them because they're in their little chalk.
Right.
But right now they're stuck in there because they needed Finn's blood to open it, so maybe they can't get out from the inside. So if they just hung out in there together forever, I think everyone would be okay with that.
Do you think,
Just stay in there.
do you think they'd be able to see eye to eye?
And work together?
Yeah.
Maybe they could rekindle their
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say. Yeah, maybe we have a whole new relationship for you to get excited about.
That would be...
Mommy and Daddy are getting back together.
I told you that I could ship everything. That is so messed up. Like, we cannot see that. That actually reminds me, because I wanted to ask you about, so not Michael, but the actual father, Ansel. So you had a really close relationship with him.
Yeah.
We had you off the show for a little bit, and everybody was like, all right, where is he? What's going on? Why has Oliver taken over? What did he do with Jackson? He stick him in a box somewhere? We kind of find out a little bit what you were doing, but so how did this relationship develop, and how did you guys become close?
Well, I mean, Ansel was such an old entity werewolf. I mean, he was from like pre all of this craziness. So he has insight into what it means and what it actually is to be an alpha that I think Jackson desperately needed at the time.
Right.
You know, after losing Oliver.
Yeah.
You know, you put him in a pretty bad place. So I think he had to leave and kind of go find himself, and in doing so was able, maybe through Deborah's character, through his grandmother, or through someone else, he was able to meet Ansel, and Ansel has insight. He walks up with a bow and a machete. Like, that's a werewolf.
Right.
You know? So I think there's things that Jackson could have learned.
Does that make you feel like maybe your character should connect with Klaus on any level and try to like pass on the message that Ansel gave you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if anyone can get through to Klaus at this point. You know, he's so...
I think I could. Just being honest.
Okay. Feel free to give it a shot. None of us have had any luck.
Just give him my number, you know? I'll work on it. But that's why you don't think he tries, because he just thinks it's a lost cause.
Yeah, and I think, you know, when Klaus was destroying Jackson, about to kill him, that was the closest you're ever going to get to getting through to Klaus.
Right.
You know, and...
Well, he kind of did for a second.
For a brief second, but we still don't know if that would have ended well for Jackson or not. You know, he hadn't quite made the decision if he was going to stake him or not.
But even the fact that he's thinking about it,
that's
a huge deal.
That's a huge deal, and I think that's the closest anyone's going to come. You know? Klaus is pretty hard to reason with.
Absolutely, although we do see that, even though I'm thinking he might be on your team next week, we don't see him so much on your team. It seems like he wants Elijah to be with Haley, that's got to be tough for you.
Yeah, well, Klaus is not really on anybody's team but his own. You know, he doesn't really pick sides. You're
such a bully to Klaus.
He just tried to kill me. I think I'm allowed to be a little angry with him.
That's fair. I wanted to get your guys' opinion about Rebecca tonight, too, because this is the first time we get to really see her interact with her siblings. So what did you guys think that we're not watching Claire Holt as Rebecca? I really felt like this actress is doing an amazing job filling these huge shoes.
Yeah.
How did you guys feel about it?
Sometimes when I was writing notes, not looking at the screen, and she had her lines, I was like, oh my God, is that Claire Holt? You know, I could get that from that actress.
She definitely embodies what Claire Holt was doing with the role, and she's just moving forward with it, and it doesn't feel like we've lost anyone.
It felt like there was a connection there too that that went thousands of years or hundreds of years. So I really think she's doing a great job, and I liked adding her in. But obviously, we're going to miss Claire. And this is what happens with all these originals. We get to see so many different versions of them, and we fall in love with every version. Yeah. And then it's like, how do we have both of them in at the same time? Yeah. Well, at least we were able to do that with Cassie for a while. Okay, guys. So what else within tonight's episode? Do we have anything that I'm missing, or do we cover it all?
I think we covered it all.
Chat mistress, what you got for us, girl?
I've got some fan questions for Nathan.
Bring them on.
Okay,
let's do it.
So Davina wants to know how
different Davina.
Okay. She wants to know how you feel about the marriage between Jackson and Haley. Is it good for them? Is it bad?
Well, like I was saying earlier, I think it's the only card left. Personally, I don't know if marriage is ever really the right option in this world specifically. This is not the place to be like happily married and get a white picket fence. So I'm worried. I would say as a fan, I would be worried that this can't go well, right?
Yeah, like this. The wedding for next week, in my mind, all I see is Game of Thrones red wedding. Like that is what I'm envisioning for.
Why did you just put that in my head?
Because it just came in mind.
You're gonna be haunted for the next week.
Exactly. I don't know what to expect from this wedding. It scares me too.
No, it's supposed to bring all peace. This is the good wedding.
Just go that easily.
This is New Orleans in the originals, though. Is there ever gonna be such a thing?
Of course.
No.
I should mind. Yeah.
Amanda wants to know: are we gonna see Jackson meeting Hope this season?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. I like
Gonna
that.
hold her and pretend it's his kid.
Yeah. Exactly.
And Boobies wants to know. Since you were in True Blood, who do you like playing better, a vampire or a werewolf?
Oh, that's a tough question.
That's a great question because both characters were so different. James was this sort of like 70s, Jim Morrison, like musician guy, very, very different than Jackson, who's a flannel-clad alpha. I mean, so at the moment, I love Jackson. I think Jackson is a lot of fun to play, and I think there's a lot more we can explore with this pack and potentially with a super pack of super werewolves. I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Do you think that maybe Jackson could get too power hungry though, if all these people are going to follow him?
Yeah, I think it's definitely possible. They say absolute power corrupts absolutely, and you are creating this guy who is going to be in charge of the most powerful army we've ever seen. I mean, that's a lot to kind of swallow.
Yeah, for anyone.
Definitely possible, yeah.
I agree.
I think that's gonna happen. That's why Jackson's too good for this show.
We think you're going down. Going down.
You guys never win in this one.
No, they don't. And last question, there's a lot of talk on the chat roll right now that people want to know how your hair stays so nice.
Oh,
I swear that's a real question, and it's not
really fair question.
It's not just me.
Well, at the moment, the headphones are keeping it in place, so that helps.
Don't you love these things? They really help you out.
Really help boost the volume.
And other than that, I just wear hats all the time. I constantly have hat hair, and it usually stays that way.
And there you have it from his mouth about his hair. Amazing. Okay, guys, let's quickly get to some predictions about next week, and then we can figure out where to find everybody. All right.
Your AFTERBUZZ.
Oh, guys, we talked a little bit about this wedding, but I mean, are we thinking something really bad's going to happen during the wedding, or are we going to get at least a moment of clarity and peace?
She might get to walk down the aisle.
Yeah.
Maybe at least that's as far as she'll go.
But what really scared me about this wedding is tonight's episode when all the wolves gave up their alphahood. Is that a word? I don't know.
Oh, sure. Now.
Okay, it is now. Yeah, they gave up their alphahood, and so that makes me think, oh God, what's gonna go wrong that they just renounced their alpha and then still don't get to be hybrids, or something goes wrong, and then they all turn on Jackson and Haley, and it could just get bad.
Yeah, and also if anything ever happens to Jackson, you don't have an Oliver anymore.
Right. Well, the closest thing I have now is Aiden. We kind of get to dive in a little bit to Jackson and Aiden's relationship and how they get to know each other. So that's good.
Oh, so we can be looking forward to that in the rest of the season. Cool.
Does Jackson know about Jaden?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he knows about that.
The wolves are starting to know.
Yeah. They're not very good at hiding it.
Yeah, these secrets. They don't stay
Like
for very long.
when they make out in front of the house with everyone's trapped in it.
Exactly. Yeah. They're not like, oh, where are Josh and Aiden right now? Who knows? Probably just grabbing beers or something. No, we know.
Too smart.
We know.
Right. All right, and also we obviously hear Klaus trying to ruin the plans. He's wanting Elijah to be with Haley, or at least not Jackson. What do you guys think is going to happen there? Is he going to...
I think that Klaus is actually more after shutting Jackson up because of him knowing about Hope, but now that the Hope secret's
shut the
out,
whole world out.
Yeah, but now that everyone's starting to know about Hope, I don't see where his plan's going, because I don't think Klaus actually has an opinion on who he wants Haley with.
Yeah.
I think he's okay with either one. It's just his daughter that he's worried about.
I get that. Katie, any
I
prediction?
wonder if he's so against Jackson right now just because of the bond that Jackson had with Ansel.
That's very
Yeah.
possible.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah, maybe. But also, I think Klaus is more interested. He doesn't care who Haley's with. He cares who he can control. So whichever one he feels like he can manipulate better is the one he's going to want with Haley.
Yeah.
It's not Jackson.
While we're on predictions, now that we're on predictions, is there anything exciting we can look forward to for your character?
Oh, lots of stuff coming up. Like I said, the stuff with Aiden we get more into. And
Bromance?
Meeting Hope, bromance, definitely bromance. We get to meet Hope and see Jackson with Hope, and then we can also have maybe these powers get to his head. I mean, maybe something goes wrong, like he said. It's possible.
Thank you so much for coming in, Nathan. We really appreciate it. And if people want to keep the conversation going with you throughout the week, where can they find you on social media and such?
Twitter would be the best way.
Okay.
Nathan Parsons, and look for the check mark. That's
Okay.
it. Yeah.
It's just Nathan Parsons. Is
Just
it
Nathan _ Parsons.
Nathan _ Parsons.
Yeah.
Amazing. And you guys make sure that you go reach out to him and talk to him, because he seems like one of the good ones. Finally, we got one of the good ones. Tiona, where can everybody find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at the Tiona Hobson. And thank you everyone for chatting with us live tonight. Sorry I wasn't chatting as much with you. Things were a little crazy.
Yeah, Chat Mistress got a lot to go.
I got a lot to go. I had Jackson next to me. We all know I'm Jaylee fan forever, so I was mostly over here in the conversation.
And Katie, where can everybody find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Katie E. Campbell. That's Katie with 3 E's Campbell. And Instagram at Katie Campbell 13.
And you guys can find me at Roxy Striar. You can find us at AfterBuzz TV. Make sure you use the hashtag ABTV Originals, and make sure that you follow everybody and respond to them and talk to them about their characters and what everybody's doing on the show. We love you guys so much. Always on iTunes, on YouTube, at AfterBuzzTV.com. Until next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.